the shotgun start in golf is full of mathematics. There's a lot of setup work that we have to do in order to make a tournament work. So I'm going to demonstrate to you just exactly how we do a shotgun start here.
Here we go. Hey.
All right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
All right, greetings and welcome to a Friday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is June 13th, Friday the 13th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I gotta say, I lived all today knowing that but not knowing it was Friday the 13th.
Likewise, I just lived the entire day, just realized now during our introduction that it is Friday the 13th. Does that change your mind about what you saw out there today?
I think
House of Horrors out at Oakmont?
It explains everything. It explains JJ Spawn. It explains Slam and Sammy Burns 65. It explains just the general pain and suffering out there. I will say it was probably the best part of today was just watching the expressions on the Pampered F's tours' faces as they walked off greens to tees. Nobody was having a good time out there.
A lot of cursing going on, a lot of incredulous looks. Apparently, Rory smashed a tee marker, which we were just seeing on 17. Rory safely into the cut line, though. He's got a chance, and that's the thing I think about right now is there may be a lot of people to pass, but who's ever out in front by a lot could quickly be behind by a lot quickly. And that's what's interesting about, well, maybe interesting is too strong a word, but I think anyone into the weekend at 7, 6, which is going to be the cut line, 8s, 7s are in, has a chance over 36 holes. Maybe.
I think
that crazy?
Yeah, it's not crazy. I think this is exactly what people want out of a U.S. Open, the pain and suffering. It's a war of attrition right now. The thick rough is just chaos.
Yeah.
You go in the rough and you have no clue what's going to happen. And I think what's happening is that it's making it very hard, very, very hard to sustain any sort of good golf.
Yeah.
So I think what you look at the board and you just see the way people slid back. There's only 3 players under par. Sam Burns leading the way at 3 under. JJ Spawn at 2 under. Victor Hovland at 1 under. 5 players even or better. And you just look, everybody's coming back. There might be some rain tonight. I don't think the rain's going to make this golf course remarkably easier. It's not like the greens were rock hard or the fairways were super firm. The golf course might get marginally easier. The thing that's so challenging is the narrow fairways and the really, really thick rough. And it's holding kind of everybody together. And I think, you look at the board and everybody at 4 is still in it. I think beyond that, it's a long shot. But I could see a situation where we saw 65 today.
Burns, yeah.
If somebody shoots at 65 tomorrow, anybody who makes the cut at 7 or better, they're right back in the tournament. I mean, the leader is probably going to be 2 under tomorrow.
I think there's some theories developing about it. Well, the identity of this U.S. Open so far has been just rough, which I feel like is sort of minimizing to what Oakmont is and sort of the layout and the land and all that. But really, overwhelming identity has been rough to the point where it exhausts you even if you're playing well. Like you talked about, that 65 is mostly Sam Burns, the best putter in the world, having a good day even by his standards. Of course, he keeps it on the straight and narrow. You're not shooting 65 if you're hitting in the rough all day. But what I've noticed is even if you are placing your ball tee to green fairly decently, you're so exhausted. The next test, it's like an obstacle course, right? And you just exerted yourself to the max to jump over the lake. But now you have a jousting, stage with the green. And what I saw from Scotty today was of course he's had moments where his ball striking, he's had the pulls for a little bit. His ball striking, he's on the range, splashing bags of balls everywhere, shouting about, people being out of order and the police, losing control of the land. But
the sheriff was a mad one today.
He was a feisty one. The sheriff was angry.
He was taking it out on the people. He was writing a lot of tickets.
The sheriff was angry today. But even like when he was playing decent tee to green, I'll say 15, he hit it offline on this drive, but hit an amazing bunker shot to get to the basically pin high just off the green. Was really sloppy, chipping and putting. 17 hits pretty much the perfect tee shot. Perfect tee shot, front edge of the green. Not a 4-putt, but effectively a 4-putt for a bogey. It's like that kind of and we saw Bryson with the putter. Even if he's online, he just can't get the speed dialed in. We've had that pretty consistently with the guys who are even on the instances when you're placing it tee to green, it's just like the next obstacle. And, maybe for 15 holes you do putt it or you do get up and down. But it's like those 3 where you don't, and it's a double, and you're just hanging on for pars all the way through.
Yeah, I think, listen, with no rough, Oakmont is absolutely relentless as a golf course, from tee to green, and then on the greens, it's the one of the most diabolical golf courses in the world. With the rough the way it is just overwhelming, and it's overwhelming the best players in the world. I don't think we've seen in some time, the collection of the best players in the world play so poorly. I think when you entered this week, the main discourse was around the big players and how they had separated themselves. You think about Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, and that was in Jon Rahm. That was the dominant storyline leading into the week. You could throw Colin Morikawa maybe in that group, and now you look at it 2 days in, half of them missed the cut, and then the best players of that group are at 4 over, 7 shots back.
Yeah, it was a spicy day. Fairways were getting hard to hold. I'm wondering, given the challenge, given the intense physical and mental toll, the grueling challenge of it all, should these guys on National Golf Cart Day been given carts to kind of zip up and down the hills of Oakmont? We were made aware of National Golf Cart Day
by our friends at Golf Digest.
Our friends at Golf Digest. I think I'm generally above, poking at other people. I think they do a ton of good work. Let me just be clear. They do a ton of good work. But it was bad. It was low. It was not a good item. Just trying to impose golf cart usage on people. And clearly what was an ad for one of the golf cart makers. Not necessarily vehemently against carts in this instance, vehemently against the propaganda of using carts. And so maybe they should have used them today, given how hard it was.
I think people should play golf however they want to play.
That's totally fine.
And but yeah, I hope that National Golf Cart Day falls every year on the U.S. Open, so I'm reminded of this day. We should be They should have given us media members carts to zip around out there.
Zip around. It's hot out there. We're at Local Remedy. It's been an awesome spot for the week. We are podcasting amongst, I call them like vats or something we got going on here, but we got a great crowd.
We're trying to balance. We're trying to balance audio quality for the masses.
There's a lot of people out there.
With the in-person experience at the brewery. So
a lot of people out there. We've got our local remedy, Moving Day Ale, Hazy Ale with us for Fried Egg Hazy Ale.
I think it's an American hazy pale ale.
Yeah, a lot of words going on there, but it's a great beer. It's been a great week here. And we've been with our friends from Echo. So we've got some Echo cards we're going to give out today. We've got free shoes, so thanks to people coming down.
People are going to get
comfortable. They're going to get comfortable. You know who's comfortable out there? A young man by the name of Thorbjorn Olesen. I've just come to learn more about him this week. Andy, I heard today Thorbjorn in Danish translates to Thunder Bear. Did you know that? Were you aware of this?
I hadn't heard that before.
And so Thunder Bear, I guess, he's a good young man. He's played okay. He hung in there, but I do know his feet were comfortable.
He's still battling.
He's still out there battling.
He's fighting the good fight. They put the youngster out late.
He's still out there battling, but he's in his Echoes. You can be too if you go to us.echo.com. Peruse the full line. They've got golf shoes. They've been doing golf shoes for almost 25, 30 years now. They know they have Gore-Tex. They're extra soft. They got the heel cup. So Echo has been in the golf shoe game forever. They've been in the shoe game for even longer than forever. And you can peruse the full collection at us.echo.com. We're going to be giving out some free complimentary cards for complimentary shoes here tonight at Local Remedy. So thanks to them and thanks to Echo for sponsoring us all week. You went out on Thursday and you said, you know what? We don't need to get into this a lot. I'm just going to ask you a simple question. You know, we're set up for a pretty fluky.
I said the setup allows the setup, which it's set up to curb scoring.
Yeah,
it's to have a score around par,
to punish it.
The very clear goal of the tournament was to have a score par or above. And
so,
when you do that, what you're trying to do is limit the ability, the skill in the game.
Yeah,
right. You're trying to punish the smallest misses. And really what that does is it sets up for a potential fluke winner.
Okay. You suggested that on Thursday. Do you feel any better, worse, affirmed about that today? We don't need to go into it too much?
I mean, look at the leaderboard. I'm emboldened by it.
Grade the day today overall. Golf experience, leaderboard.
I just I feel like I haven't. We've seen a few really great shots. I don't think this style of golf is like super exciting. I think it's relatable.
Sure.
It makes people feel good when they see people duff it out of the rough. The best players in the world duff it out of the rough. What I like about it is its variety.
Yeah.
I think like one of the things that I think this week should really crystallize with people is this is not your PGA Tour setup. If the PGA Tour was set up this way, week in, week out, you would have a lot of different winners than you have the current way they have it set up, which is pretty soft. Like, this is the complete opposite end of the spectrum of the PGA Tour.
I think you're seeing frustrated players. I don't want to say they're lashing out. Scotty on Thursday said.
I think they're lashing out.
They're lashing out a little bit.
They're lashing out in different ways. They haven't lashed out in the press, really, though.
No.
They've been pretty muted in the press, but they've been lashing out to their people.
Or tempered.
They've been lashing out on tee markers.
That's true.
They might have just picked up their ball.
Shane Lowry picked up his ball. Funny moment. Young PJ and I were out there on 14 green. Lowry, who's just been in a blender, he's like 15 over at the point. 14 over, picks up his ball, and just walks to the back of the green, picks it up to wash it, clean it, wipe it off, replace it. Forgot to put his marker down. He and Rory just start laughing. Rory, to his credit, great little bit. Because you're near the clubhouse there at 14 greens. Are you picking up and just walking in? Points at the clubhouse. Were you just going in? And they were laughing because obviously Shane was going home. Rose was going home. I mean, Rory grinding at that point.
I'm surprised that they didn't go home after they waited for like 30 minutes on the 12th tee box.
What do you make of that?
I don't know. I mean,
it's not okay.
It's just
five groups on 12 at one point. Thirsty boy when he was leading at the point. Thurston Lawrence, Mike Tirico, pro's pro. Called him Thurston. I mean Tristan. If he can do it, I can do it too.
Wonder where he picked up the Thurston.
He was leading. He was leading at the time on 12 and had to wait 30 minutes. Let me tell you, that lead quickly came undone.
We gave him the Maja Maya.
We did go up and put the cooler on him. PJ and I were there, listened to Shaq Wax Poetic, and we watched Thirsty Boy just go parched on the way in. Look, it was too long yesterday. I'm not going to holler about it. I just think it's interesting how we're just supposed to accept 5.5, 6 hour rounds. That's all I'll say. And it feels like just the more and more it happens, it becomes commonplace, and we're just supposed to accept it. And, like, we're supposed to be okay with it. I guess that's – I just think we need to keep saying that's too long. It's ridiculous. There's 5 groups. There's 30-minute waits. And I'm just going to say it. It's too long. And it seems like the more and more it happens, we're just kind of supposed to be okay with it without hollering. And it feels like it's going that direction, which sucks. So – yeah,
Brendan, I usually declare where the leader is.
Where you at?
Where are you?
Do you even know where to go?
Where are you going with the leader? Is what I would ask you. Are you buying Slam and Sammy? Slam and Sammy Burns, who's I'll tell you what, Sam Burns is a quote machine. He gave us a lot.
City.
He gave us a lot in his post round.
What did he do?
He just didn't say anything.
Oh, I don't know. Played all I was going to say Spawn. I think I've come around. Spawn's our leader at 2. Tee to green guy. Tee to green ace. Maybe he is our guy. Hovland chipped in twice. I followed Hovland for a bit this morning. Is that happening again? He has among the most 3 putts in the field.
I think I think like yesterday's putting was bad, but he had some lip outs, some tough breaks. I think in general, like I probably would go Hovland's leading at 1, which then like you push that back, and Scotty's only 5 back. Only 5 back.
For
the Sheriff's only 5 back.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Is that the Sheriff? Oh, that's how I've seen it up close. There we go. We're getting the whoop whoop. He was worked up. You were. I wouldn't say you were excited. You were just watching with great intrigue at the Sheriff's struggles as sort of street riots broke out. Petty theft. I mean, Victor was committing petty theft in front of him left and right. Just chipping in.
He couldn't have been happy
he was
about
not
it.
As worse. Scotty's 4-putting or getting bad, sinking to the bottom. There's Victor chipping in. It's just petty theft right in front of his face. Victor was committing. And then he goes to the range and he's shouting. I watched it up close for myself for a little bit. Randy would tell him to stop, stop at the top. And he'd be like, he'd get worked up and throw his hands up. The USGA's filming him from the media center, as he's barking and hollering. He apparently, I was told, he sort of splashed a bag of balls. Totally acceptable. This is totally fine. You're allowed to have
this is kind of what you want out of the U.S. Open in a way. I know I'm kind of talking out both sides of my mouth here, but
well, I wouldn't expect that's what we want.
I do love the way that it does. Seeing pain is enjoyable to a certain extent. And, I gotta also say, another heavy range session for Jordan Spieth.
Also in pain, about 5 spots down.
Guys got to stop playing golf swing and play some golf.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he was cursing. He was there. He left the range. I wrote it down, 3:37. He teed off this morning at like 7:30. Guy was there for like an 8-hour day of playing hitting golf balls. He was crouched over, tossing clubs, frustrated. I mean, not throwing, but, just frustrated, tossing lightly at his range. It was not a good day for the Longhorns on the range. Between him and Scotty, there's a lot of frustration. You would think we were back in like the Charlie Straughn era or something going on with all the angry Longhorns on the driving range today. But I was getting to they're not like overtly lashing out in the press.
They're lashing out other places.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when was the last time you saw Rory launch a club down the fairway?
Yeah. I mean,
that's a moment of his youth.
He's got a good dossier.
It's like a fisherman cast almost.
He chucked one at Troon in 16. He chucked one in the lake at Doral. He's done it every now and then.
Was that the Honda or Doral?
Doral.
Yeah, it was Doral. That was a nice one.
I mean, that was great. I enjoy it. I'm not going to.
He goes with like the cast because that was like a low cast. I feel like fly fisherman cast that way. Today's was the classic overhead cast.
That was a good one. So they're not overtly lashing out the press, but they are. There are some subtle digs. Scotty, it's not overly complicated. It's just difficult. Yeah, it's one of these places. There's not a ton of strategy, I would say. You just step up on the tee box and go, what club can I get into this fairway? And then try to hit that club in the fairway. If you don't, it's like, how am I going to get out of the rough and get the ball back in the fairway so I can have a shot at the green? It's not like an overly strategic golf course where there's a lot of club options off the tee and stuff like that. It's just a golf course where you step on the tee box, look at the fairway, and you're like, all right, get the ball in that thing. I would say that's
that's exactly what the USGA wanted.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The USGA at the outset of this tournament said it was a true-false test, which I think is kind of sad because I think Augusta National is an example of the complete opposite, and I think Oakmont
has that character
presented in a different way is like the most magnificent, complex test in the world, but they've kind of reduced it to a true-false exam where it's just like execute this shot. I think what's interesting, one of the subplots of this is just like the analytics-driven golfer and how they have kind of all played similar strategies. Like I think like the club choice, like nobody's gone to like a very really throttled it back and said, I'm just going to hit fairways and I'm going to try and approach all these greens from the fairway.
Yeah.
And I think like if you see you look at like the scoring over the couple days is like there are some like some of the surprise rounds, like the players that you didn't expect to play well, that played well, drove the ball particularly well, like it found a lot of fairways. Example would be Kevin Fellow. Hit 12 of 14 fairways. He was at 1 over par.
Yeah.
Today he started to miss fairways, and that kind of like
caught up
with him. So
Yeah.
I think like when you start to like look at that, like Tristan Lawrence on Thursday when he shot his 67, hit 11 fairways. He shoots 67. So the key out here is hitting fairways, but the flip side of that is like, some of these guys are hitting irons on 15 and still missing the fairway, which 15 is just a bear of a hole. That is so tough with the crosswind.
Can you hit that fairway? You can hit it.
I think you have to lay like
15.
so far back that these guys are uncomfortable, but then you get like, if you can lay back on top of that hill, the problem is they're getting over the hill and it gets on that side slope and runs away. But if you could get up on top of that hill, you've got probably 220 into a green that's really big and receives balls well. So I think that's the interesting thing. It's like nobody has gone like super extreme, like I'm going to play very conservative, but hit a ton of fairways and just take long approaches all day long.
This morning, I thought, last night you talked about John Rahm a little bit. I don't know if you made him your effective leader. I think you had Brooks as your effective leader, but Rahm was right there. And then this morning, he goes out hot a little bit.
Yeah.
Comes undone kind of at 11. I thought we were going to get a Mount Vesuvius moment. Like 11 is one of those holes where
Scoreable holes.
So, totally scoreable. Like that's the thing is like Scotty hit it to scoreable distance at 17, but you can still make 5. You hit it to a par distance at 15, you still make 5. And these guys are like, they're either bombing in these saves or they're chipping in, and it's like they start to get frustrated because it did feel scoreable. I'll say this: the back 9 seems to be one that is, I don't want to say gettable, but in the morning. It's certainly able to in the morning, but afternoon.
If you think about the back 9, 10 can be scored on.
Yeah.
11 is a birdie hole. 12 is a birdie hole if you hit the good shots. 13 you can make birdie on. It's like, it's a flat lie shot into a green that has some abilities to work things in. And then 14 is scoreable.
Yep.
And 17 is scoreable.
Yep.
There's like it is a much easier 9, I think.
So Rahm was soaring, flying high, and 11 can be tricky. And he hits like a good iron shot, T-ball, bombs left, right. That fairway cants dramatically, gets into almost the red line. If not, it went across. It was right next to it. Smashes out of there, long, then misses, ping pongs it back and forth, makes a 6, I think he did at 11. When he hit a pretty decent tee shot, hit a pretty decent recovery shot from the rough, and makes 6. I thought we were getting Mount Vesuvius. Rob, though, he shoots 75. What looked like it was going to be like a 69 or 70 becomes a 75 really quickly. And I enjoyed his quote. Good on him. Not everybody does it these days. Good on him for going to the press.
Yeah.
He was there for about 35 seconds, but he went and he talked. He said, honestly, I'm too annoyed and too mad right now to think about any perspective. He was asked about the round. Very few rounds of golf I've played in my life where I think I hit good putts and they didn't sniff the hole. So we're not talking about lips and burn edges. Didn't sniff the hole. Hit good putts, as good putts as I have in my life, and they didn't sniff the hole. So it's frustrating. And then he was out. So, but he talked. He's there. He's at 4. Where are you with Scotty, Rory, all these Scotty, Rahm, 4 and 3, Morikawa,
Cam Young.
Cam Young. PJ, you want to jump in there? Cam Young. Do we have Cam Young optimism or hope at this point?
I mean, he made the cut, so that's a start. I'll take that.
We're gonna do some miscut boys here.
Yeah, so I'm good. Optimism. We're out early. Could be wet. Could be soft. Put up a number. Make everybody come back to you.
I need you to hit a soundboard. Round of the day, other than Sam Burns.
Oh, no. Jeez.
Was Jason Day. That got overshadowed by Burns. The Day Man completely overshadowed.
The people in the brewery are not getting the soundboard, so they probably think, what is this madness?
We played Day Man.
All right, we're playing Day Man. We're not going to sing it.
We're good.
Acapella
it's
for you.
over.
But
all right.
Jason Day is in the mix.
Yeah.
Honestly, great short game. This is the type of you got 2 I'll say underrated stories this leaderboard has a real poo-poo platter potential. Real bad potential. There are a lot of scary outcomes.
Not a good situation.
Scary outcomes.
Do you think the USGA is a little
They're nervous.
uneasy?
They're very nervous.
Yeah.
The membership's very nervous.
Yeah.
Oakmont members, I think, are terrified.
Can we just all be nervous? I think golf
I'm
in
not
general
nervous.
concept.
I'm not nervous. This
You want to be sitting
workout.
here Sunday night
This
talking
is-
about?
I think I would have ample ammo to shove right back in the live from
That's true.
faces.
That's
you
true.
know?
That's true. Live
Okay.
from? What's going on with live
They've
from?
just been singing the praises of
Rough.
Thick Rough all week.
I love it. I love it.
But anyways, I think like two great stories on this board: Adam Scott, Jason Day.
Yeah.
Two big time players that
But-
would be great to see each of those two Aussies
Totally.
with more than one major when they end their career.
Totally deserving
So,
of that. Adam
You know,
Scott
it'd be
right
nice
there.
for Jason Day to do something on the golf course that earns as much notoriety as his
That's close.
apparel choices.
That's close. Malbon. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
We got Guy banging on the window right
All
mid podcast. So yeah, we're Day and Adam Scott would be two great options. I think in Australia. Like, I don't know if they would be. So would they get past the poo-poo platter? They would certainly be able.
I mean,
to
I'll have to issue an apology to Adam Scott because I kind of threw some shade in the preview show about him getting feature group treatment.
People have been
your
in the
thing.
chat all night asking for an apology from you. So
I gotta apologize.
We still got a lot of golf tournament left.
Yeah.
no,
I'm not-
but
I wouldn't
good.
say
You
you went
kind
like
of
crazy.
stuffed
Adam.
it in my face.
I wouldn't say you went crazy.
And
Adam.
you know what? I deserved it. I deserved it. I shouldn't have questioned Adam
I gotta
Scott.
apologize for the Pete Alonso.
I gotta
for calling Bob
PJ,
McIntyre Pete Alonso.
What would Don Rea be saying right now?
I don't actually. I mean, is it going to rain? Is it raining?
Yeah.
Oh, it's pouring.
Yeah,
That's
pouring.
that noise.
Yeah,
that
I thought you-
I thought the air conditioner
No,
came on.
no.
or something. No, it's
Rain hitting
pissing.
the tin
Okay,
roof.
yeah. Oh, that rain.
I got.
It is dumping.
I got. Some
I don't know if it's
incredible-
dumping at the course.
I got some incredible Don Rea intel last night. I'm just waiting for you to meet the source of it from the senior PGA. Incredible stuff. Totally like. Just he's gonna meet his match next year at Aronimink, but great stuff from the senior PGA. Don Rea apparently was supposed to give a 3-minute intro at a big dinner, and he spoke for 20 minutes. He was doing the intro, and he spoke for 20 minutes.
Greatest of all time.
Had all these pro-am, like these fancy partners, like, what is going on? I'm here for 20 minutes.
He probably had a lot of things to follow up on.
Yeah. Let's talk about some missed cutters, guys who don't have a chance. Are you? So
Can I
you
follow
say
just a little
Rahm at
bit?
4,
Can I follow
Rory
just
at
a little bit?
6?
I don't think Rory. Realistically, you have to shoot a crazy round. I think like how far back's too far back, barring like a miraculous like great round. You're at 4.
Okay.
Four is kind of the number for me.
That's the thing with Scotty. We're freaking
For
out,
sure.
and he's freaking out, and he's T23.
I feel like he's in about as good a position this tournament as he was after the first round of the PGA.
Yeah. So you're nervous?
I'm not.
If you're a criminal, are you nervous right now that the cops are coming, that the police state's coming for
if
you?
I'm Victor and I've
Petty
been right in front of him committing petty theft
So stupid.
all day long, I'm worried that the sheriff's got his yardage book out. He's writing down people he's going to ticket in the
he's
near
making a
future.
case. He's making a
The
case.
statute of limitations extends till Sunday.
I gotta
you
know what the people in the brewery who just came here to get a beer and not listen to this podcast have any clue what's going on right now.
You know, he's a real stickler for fairness too.
I'm just
Yes.
a stickler
Yeah.
for fairness.
Yeah,
Fairness may not be your thing.
Cook it, PJ's cook it. Just cook, PJ. Cook with the soundboard.
Who are you most scared of on the leaderboard?
Like terrified it might win and
Yeah.
that it's not going to be good. Thirsty. Right?
I don't think he's going to win.
Oh, but that's the other thing. But you asked me who's on the leaderboard. I'm not bustling.
It's a combination of like it might win. For
Yeah.
me, it's I've been dogging Russell Henley.
Rusty
Just-
Henley.
just staring right at me, right on that. I look at that leaderboard. I just zoom in on Russell Henley. It's like it's such a junk fest that
Yeah.
all of a sudden junk baller
Yeah.
can come to the top of the board.
A guy who's just walking out of the pen, just throwing stuff in the dirt that you're swinging at.
I would like to propose that the worst case scenario would be Adam Schenk.
Oh, that's not nice, but I agree. That's not nice, but I agree. That'd be a bad situation.
So people are toughing it out in the rain.
They are?
Yeah, those are good umbrellas they got here at Local Remedy.
I'm fine with Emilio Grano. What if I said worst case scenario could be Thomas Dietrich? Would that be a bad one? Would you object to such a thing?
That's absolutely disrespectful to a world-class, worldwide player.
Let's talk about people who have no scenario. And those are the guys going home. Woke up to a great text from across the pond that say, can we talk about Cantlay? He's complete and total house cat, getting spooked by the traffic and the 18-wheelers and the loud horns and the buzzing trains. And the house gets spooked, and he scurried back in the house. He is going home at 8 over. Bad year so far for Patrick Cantlay. I feel horrible for Phil Mickelson.
I wanted him to make the cut. I wanted him around. I thought for a second, I was like, he's kind of in this.
He spit the bit. He was T18 at the moment, early at a moment in the front 9. Of course, it's a lot of golf, but he goes double at 15.
Do you think his coffee for wellness wore off?
That could be it.
He doesn't have the stamina anymore?
I was walking with him for a hole or two. I didn't write Phil, but I did walk with him. And somebody said, that's the guy from Grand Horvat. And I was like, what? That's your frame of reference?
No way.
That's your frame of reference? Honest to God, walking down the left side of the fairway at 1. I heard it. Said, that's the guy who's Grant Horvat.
How old?
Like
my age?
Youngish. Yeah, younger than you.
Okay.
And I said, that's the frame of reference you're talking about?
It's disturbing.
But he was then, he played well there through the first 4 or 5 holes. It was inside the top 20, and he throws 2 doubles on the board in his last 5 holes. He's going home. So we got Phil and Pat Cantlay going home. Really disappointing for Cantlay. Cam Smith. Is Cam Smith still what is he still a legitimate professional golfer at majors? I think we're out on him.
Are you surprised DJ missed the cut?
No, I'm not.
6 years.
6 years left.
6 years left in the
starting
tank.
next week. It's like one of those people who says like, I'm going to go on a diet next week. Well, I got to get all these Oreos out of the house. So I might as well, I'll start the diet now or the next week once we get all these Oreos and the French fries out of the house. He just, the 6 year run begins next week.
Can I ask an earnest question?
Yes. Be earnest as possible.
Is it time for us, like every major championship, to stop saying, who's a great fit for this golf course?
Joaquin Neiman?
Justin Thomas.
Yeah. He should just be better. If we want to, he's won so much on the PGA Tour. He's won. I don't want to bury JT.
He might be a wedge fest winner, like when it's a soft wedge fest where you don't have to hit driver a ton.
Are we on the other side of his peak and his best chances?
I don't know. I think he's on the way back up. He's played better this year. But I just don't think he's like a real major threat. I think he's no longer in the. I think he's like squarely in like tier 3 for me.
God, you go back to 2015, 16, and he's just ripping them off, and you're like, of course he's going to be like I don't know, someone we put in a Rahm caliber tier. His last 13 majors, PJ shows me. How many MCs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 MCs. Best finish was a T8. I guess you could count that
was
as
Valhalla. That was like the backdoor Valhalla. But the thing about that's misleading is like he won the Southern Hills win was kind of fluky. Mito
got electrocuted on the 18th.
He got and if you look at his run before that, it was awful leading into that in majors too. So like it's not like it's like a very bad run of majors because the year before that year he was awful in majors too. So
this year he's gone T36 cut, and he's having a better year. He's been like a really good iron player, one of the best iron players on the PGA Tour.
I can't
going
wait.
Home, 10 over.
Next year when it comes to the Masters, you know who's a perfect fit for this golf course?
Fit, playing well, perfect fit.
JT, it makes all the sense in the world.
I guess I'm going to need to see it a few more times, before I get suckered back in. Is that fair?
Yeah. You want to talk about Bryson?
Sure. Going home. Where are you at? Couldn't putt on Thursday.
Irons,
wild,
not great.
Yeah. He was, but he's kind of been that way this year a lot. His irons haven't been great.
Very shocked about the performance. Most shocking performance.
Okay. You picked him. You had him picked.
Yeah.
You had him tabbed really for the last couple months.
Here's a great question.
Yes.
In one of my one and done leagues, I get a mulligan. So I took Bryson. I get a mulligan.
Okay.
But I have to pick somebody outside the top 10, and I haven't used it. Who's the pick? Is it Seabez? Bazayton out? Junk baller?
I don't know about Seabez. Hitting at 180 on 220-yard par threes.
Might be Dayman.
The Dayman might be your guy outside the top 10.
Keegan.
Not Shank. Chris
Rahm.
Kirk. Rahm would be the guy. Use your. I think Bryson.
Keegan?
Bryson's going to be a lost year for Bryson at the majors. I mean, are you going to be bullish on him at Porath?
That's what I was thinking about. It's like the issue with Liv is like you without a doubt make it a lost year if you don't win a major. But I think also, like, this is again talking outside both sides of my mouth. At that level, you feel like it's a lost year if you don't win a major. Same's true if Jon Rahm doesn't win a major. It's another lost year.
Yeah, that's fair. Neiman misses it while we're on the subject of Liv boys missing. Neiman's gone. Shane Lowry, Justin Rose, both gone. I think we kind of expected something from either, if not both, Shane Lowry and Justin Rose this week, given the setup. But they're both going home early. I think that covers most of my miscut notables. Look, you could shoot 85 out there without, like, really good players could shoot 85. So I'm not, like, trying to bury a Neiman, bury a JT, bury a Bryson. But, you know, given their relative strength of the season and where they are in the world rankings, it's disappointing to see all these guys going home. It matters.
Hey.
I mean, Rory was garbage. He was shit for, like, a little bit and frustrated. But you know what? Have you heard about him being resilient? Have you heard that term?
I have.
I mean, look, I'm not really bullish on Rory right now, or this week, but it kind of matters that you're on 12, 13, 14. He's like, I got to get from 8 to 7. And not only does he get from 8 to 7, he gets from 8 to 6, and he gets it gets 2 more rounds. So,
Other great performance?
What?
Influencer / pro golfer James Nicklaus. He shot 45 after his round of his life, shooting 1 under. He shoots 45 to open Fridays up. Like, got to be completely shell shocked at that point, and then shoots 33 on the back to make the cut on the number. Awesome performance.
God, they're still playing. It's dumping out right now. They're still playing.
Other note, low am, only am. Justin Hastings.
Yeah, from
how far he's come since the Masters debut.
San Diego State. So what happened to Masters?
Remember he got just but he's got. I think he has the lowest scoring. He had the lowest scoring average last year in college golf.
Okay.
So little Justin Hastings love.
Any other
Everybody
odds
loves
and
Cayman Islands native.
Any other odds? I didn't think we lost a ton of big names. Honestly, I don't think we lost a lot of big names. Bryson's obviously a big one. But I think we're okay in terms of guys going home.
Chad is very disappointed in Ludwig.
Well, I got Ludwig on my list. I should have mentioned him. Why are you disappointed? Have you not been paying attention for the last 3 or 4 months?
Well, it's another example of somebody getting crowned before they've ever really done anything.
Yeah, I don't want to pop him. He's just not been very good this year. Been not very good on approach play.
He needs to win just more events.
Yeah.
Before he gets put in, like, the very top tier of players. I think he's very good. He just hasn't been consistently very, very good. He's very good in certain sample sizes.
But not a lot of, it's not like an absolute clean out of the top names going home. There's just not a lot of them on the top 10 in the leaderboard. So you got possibility on the weekend. Any other notes you want to get to? I know we got plenty of course thoughts.
I got a parting note.
What's that?
Pittsburgh Minute.
God.
Met some new Pittsburgh residents today. A couple new residents.
Yep.
We did, in fact, meet some new Pittsburgh residents.
With extensive Ohio knowledge.
I
don't know about
incredible
extensive.
amounts of Ohio knowledge.
Some
Some could say they represented the state as a whole.
I think they do
one was
represent
a
the
portal
state.
fella from Philadelphia. He was a portal guy, hired gun for a year.
Building upon the foundation of Kyle McCord, the greatest player in Syracuse history. I digress.
The guy could speak to Manhattan, Kansas more than he could Ohio.
Sure.
All right.
The other guy, though, is like the best defensive player in Ohio State history.
He was a blue blood, tried and true Ohioan.
So I saw these gentlemen. I knew that they could weigh in on my question.
They could.
Question of the week. Where would Pittsburgh rank if it was in Ohio City? These two nice young gentlemen who spend a lot of time in Ohio.
Yeah.
They both said second.
Do you want to say who they were?
Jack Sawyer and Will Howard.
Of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
They both said
national
second.
champs.
They said, well,
And Steelers.
Columbus
And the
first,
Steelers. Yeah.
then Pittsburgh.
Then Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Then Cincinnati.
Then Cincinnati,
And
then Cleveland. Yeah.
Well,
So
there you go.
just wanted to. I thought that
You're doing research. They look confused as to why this peculiar fellow was asking them these questions. But you were there, like trying to get to the bottom of things.
I also asked Mr. Sawyer if Illinois was the best team in college football that wasn't in the college football playoff.
Skeptical about
He
that.
disagreed with that. Disagreed
You
with
were
that
asking
statement.
them about Illinois. That was good. All right, I don't have anything else. We're all a little uneasy about this leaderboard in a way that we weren't at Quail Hollow.
I don't know. I'm having fun.
You are.
I kind of like where we're at. I don't have as big a problem with Sam Burns as everybody else does.
See, PJ, you're the youthful innocence that I was in the 2017 players when everyone was groaning and in a terrible mood that Siwoo won. And I was like, why is everybody in a bad mood? I love Siwoo, Kim.
I still like Siwoo, Kim.
You love
poo-pooed me. I mentioned Siwoo last week as possible tier 3, and he's hanging around. You poo-pooed me immediately.
I did. There have been a lot of poo-pooings. Maybe there's been one
There's one
very tragic poo-pooing within the Fried Egg staff. I will keep said person
no,
nameless.
I won't.
No, you have to.
Why? He's going to air your laundry?
He can't air my laundry. I have not.
Where's
opened this
Lamagna?
up.
I asked Lamagna, should I play Sam Burns? He said, no way. And here we are. This was after Pavon. You and Pavon last year.
He poo-pooed Pavon
We're
last
at a
year.
U.S. Open cooler here. Read his work in the newsletter. He's the smartest one on our staff. We're just messing with them. Burns shot 65 today. Do we see a 65 on the weekend?
I see regression. I think it's like virtually impossible to play two great rounds of golf here in a row. He's going to shoot over par.
I'm not even saying from him. Anybody maybe
yeah.
there's a guy out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It can be done. Most people are getting brutalized.
Did anybody? So Adam Scott shot 2 rounds of even par. Nobody shot 2 under par rounds in a row, and the best. Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean.
Yep. Oakmont members are calling these greens a little receptive. Few I talked to.
Well, it's about to be Soakmont.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Back to
It's
Soakmont.
raining. This was a great Friday episode. Thank you for Local Remedy for having us. We're about to give out some Echo
Thank you for the internet for
cards.
holding up.
Yeah, they set up some good internet.
See?
PJ's
PJ was
happy.
so worried.
PJ was worried. PJ was a nervous Nelly, but we got through it.
Went
here.
to the church pews. Said in our Father today.
Local Remedy
Hey,
got us hardwired in here.
How about Scotty 3 for 4 in the pews this week? He's
Yeah.
going to church.
Yeah, he
Intentional.
likes the church.
It has to be intentional.
Do you think that's where we could call? We also could call the sheriff's office. The sheriff's station.
Man, how about that? How about Rom hitting at 350, miss hit, double cross 350, just clears right over the pews. Does the driver head?
I mean, that's the underlying thing. Not to get this, the whole setup, all your grievances,
Yeah.
all of them center around how the golf
Double
ball
cross,
goes too far.
350 right over the pews on the double cross. All right. Everybody enjoy your Fridays. Thanks to Local Remedy. Thanks to Echo. We'll be back on Saturday with another live show, probably live show. PJ, maybe. I don't want to put
we'll
you
figure
on
it
the
out.
spot.
We'll
But
figure
we'll
it
be
out.
back Saturday to break it all down and set up Sunday. Talk to you
Talking
then.
about how big PJ's laptop is.
Jumbo laptop. You're too close to the camera. You're close to the camera.
The camera's
You're all
making it appear bigger than it is.
Oh, what a good night. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon. Thank